Welcome to IT-Conductor, the cloud-based SAP monitoring and automation. Today we'll visit an advanced topic for cross-platform process automation to help with the SAP Basis automation. The task challenge is cross-platform process automation, so we can schedule periodic jobs to run as a process of linked activities across platform. Here we visit the My Process definitions. Here's an example. We've set up a SAP Basis automation. Now, in the past publications, we've looked at multiple jobs on SAP side as well as on the HANA side. So this is one of the jobs we had set up as an automation. And this is a SQL job on HANA database platform as an example that we run a SAP mini check on HANA. So those are already created in this particular process. And here's an example of the composer that we're able to look at various different processes. IT-Conductor has a power to automate process within an SAP environment or across multiple IT operations. You can see here from various different type of application activity, everything from SQL to HTTP to specific application as well as the operating system. So for instance, under SAP activity, there are various different things we support right out of the box, like ECAT script or XMI activity, or even pushing particular SAP operations on the user side, running any BAPI or services that we need to. So we've already produced a process as a definition, including 2 steps. So here, SQL job is one of them, that is the HANA, and the command that we've already implemented. So as an example, we will take a look at other activities that we can add to this particular process. For instance, we might run something in SAP, then we might run in SAP HANA, and then do a OS command in order to complete the process. As an example here, a tenant command that we're adding to the process flow. So we can do this by just naming the particular activity. Example would be to run a HANA backup on a particular host, and we leave it in defined state because this is a definition of the process. Pick the owner for this particular process, which essentially will be associated to an application account that will run this particular activity. And in activity also, we can, of course, this is a telnet operations. We can pick the actual host where that's going to run. So the work queue for this case example is IMDb HDB, which is the HANA host itself. And here the definition screen, we can pretty much pick the activity group. The activity group essentially controls the resources and parallelism and how many we can run in a particular set of activities. So it's type of a resource pool in IT-Conductor. Here in the telnet command, we can either type in a particular command we want to run after it's SSH into the system. As an example here, we'll just paste in some commands that we know will run this backup. So there's a script there, run it, echo, backup is done. So it's a simple operation to kick off a script. Save that. And just like that, we've created a activity in this process. Now the next part is we're going to link it up as the next activity after the HANA job is run on the database side. To create a dependency, we drag and drop from the activity before that to after, say from and to, and upon succeeding the first activity, it will then kick off the second activity. Simple as that. We want to also make the link via the owner. Create that link, and we should have that link. Now that we have the HANA, we go to the OS. We can delete this particular end so that we can essentially link it up after the OS job. So here we actually delete the end there to modify this particular process. Having deleted that activity, it should take us back, and now we show gray out as being deleted. Now with the HANA backup there, we will create another end, and then we'll link it up that way. So in this example here, we'll go and add another virtual activity, which is an N, because there's nothing to be done. It just marks an N and reports back the status. So here we can describe the activity that is an N activity, a virtual node basically, in this particular process, Basis Automation 101. Alright, we need to type in the name. Copy that, just put the description, and we should be set to go on this particular activity. Picking an owner also. If you don't do this, then it will inherit the owner of the whole entire process. Activity group also, we will assign that to the HANA backup, which is the group that controls the resource pool to run. And here we have now the activity there. We just need to link it up to the HANA backup. So to link it, we'll look at transition and the dependency. We support conditional as well as loops, so it can be conditional and based on the status of the previous activity. We can even do things like notification, trigger something else. In case there is a different status return, we can also execute different steps. Alright, so now we've done this dependency, we can save it. And back on the composer, we should have this now. We'll just do that. So the next part is actually going to schedule this definition to run. So we've created a definition. So the idea here is that we have work schedules. So schedules are like a calendar inside IT-Conductor. Schedules define what time windows, observe specific calendar. So in this case, we do 24-hour schedule. We just call this run basis 101 daily. And within the schedule, we are able to then link up the list of activities. So here it's already linked up to one. That basis automation that we defined was created via link. And once you create a link, you can pick the activity definition, the process that we create. And looking in further, that's the one we created before. So this is in definition. And once we've linked it, and we should be able to look at the release. So release the activity, so kind of like releasing the job, it will create an instance of that set of activity. And here's the process. You can see that the first step is run in green, and we have the control. We can look at the log, the job log here for that particular first step. So with IT-Conductor, you can easily restart an activity if it failed using the various different icons there. Look at the logs. So the next activity now is in ready mode. Take a look at that. That's the HANA mini check. So it's ready because the previous step had completed successfully. If we just refresh this, the activity group will pick it up and process that. And now it shows green, which means has completed. Again, we can go in and take a look at the log of the actual step. The activity has execution log. Here's the output report of that particular mini check for HANA. So this can be again the schedule to deliver to a particular user on a daily basis, let's say. The output can then be routed via notification. So now the next step is in the allocation mode, which means that's going to allocate resource in the activity group to run if there is sufficient process and we haven't reached the maximum process active. So now it's queued up and it's ready to go. The colors changed, and then it should be in processing. That is in processing mode right there, and we should be able to refresh that, and we fast forward a little, and that backup job, when it finishes, should report back a status. So green indicating everything is okay, and we'll just refresh that. And so this demonstrates that the linked processes are executed as a workflow. And looking at the log of that particular run there, that's the actual script that was echoed back. Having run successfully, we've now completed all the activities in this process. So the N is a virtual node, would just basically report back the last activity inside this process and this status code. So once this instantiation of the process is run, according to the schedule. Let's say we want to run it periodically. It would then just go back into a waiting mode until the next time slot that it should run again, and that whole process of activities will be spawned off. And so here is the completion. Everything should be green, and the release instantiated activities are there. So just like that, we summarize the powerful ability for us to automate IT via IT-Conductor for SAP Basis jobs.